And welcome to America's Home Cooking. Today I'm cooking chuck-eyed steaks with cornbread. We're going to be talking about something I heard a most interesting. When I hear things, I start questioning things. This is so typical of me. But anyway, let's get the cornbread going. You have to set your oven at 425. I just have to check mine. A 9 by 9. Yeah, that should do it. Well, I have it. You can use either a 9 by 5 inch baking loaf pan, a 9 by 5, or an 8-inch square baking pan. I'm using an 8-inch. All right, so you're going to have to grease it, and we're going to mix cornmeal, which is 1 1/4 cups. This is my favorite cornmeal recipe, if you must know, for cornbread, because I'm not overly fond of cornbread. I've been through the gamut. Make sure you level off. If you don't, you'll have the wrong measurements. And good morning to everybody. I know I'm up earlier than most people today. All right. Now, when you go to add the flour to this, you can sit there and use whole wheat or all-purpose flour. I use whole wheat, like I tell you. This channel is more to make food more nutritious and how we can get around to keeping our health. I saw a video. This guy said that one says your hair falls out, gray breaks. Okay, gray hair breaks. Regular colored hair breaks too. And if you color your hair, it does not prevent it from happening. Just gonna let you know that. So they recommend old people to cut their hair short. I have a question to that, okay? So when I start asking questions, and this tells me that something's going on with the nutrition in the world. But anyway, you can use all-purpose or whole wheat. It's just I prefer whole wheat when I make my cornbread. All right, you're gonna need salt. And like I said, this is my favorite recipe. It's the one I like. We need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I have my grandmother's, but I don't like her cornbread. I never did. I'm not gonna start in now liking it. But I do have it because it's a history of a recipe. All right, and 4 teaspoons of baking powder. Now you see why I'm always making baking powder. So they say that the hair breaks. Now I'm going to go back in time. People used to live a lot longer than they do now. All right. You know, Noah lived 900 years with his wife. They had children and they lived 500-600 years. And if these people lived this long, were they all bald by the time they were 60? Kim, good morning. So I have this question. So what, did they all go bald and spent the last, 700 years of their life bald? I mean, I have real questions. So my question is what are we doing which is causing our hair to break? Cornbread and chuck-eyed steaks today. And I'm going to make a salad with it. I already have dressing made. And 1/4 cup of sugar. So I want to know why. Question, I've never colored my hair. People like to use hairspray, I don't. Okay. So my husband puts it on and I'll wash it out. So here, I'll show you what it looks like so far. We've just added all the ingredients. And remember, I'm using whole wheat. You can use white or whole wheat. But cornbread was not the top of my list, though, with Aunt Odessa and my grandma. Yes, it was very popular. Every Sunday I knew I was going to have green beans, fried chicken, and cornbread, and sugar cookies for dessert. And because we ate there, and that's what she made every week, so I know that. Thank you for the flour. My question is if they live that long, how did the women, and another thing, the women in the Wild West, we're talking, what, 200 years? Let's go back to 18 or 1700. They all had really long hair, and it didn't break off either. Hello? So what are we doing with our hair, or what are we doing with our diets that is affecting us? Begin to question, you see what I mean? I've had some people come and say, you got to cut your hair short because you're older. I said, no, I'm supposed to wear my hair as a crown. That is my crown. I'm not going to let you take it from me, you know. So, oh, there goes, I think that's H again. No, it's somebody else this time. All right, in a bowl, we're going to need 2 eggs. You're supposed to use large eggs. Somebody got me medium eggs. I'm not happy about that, but I'll deal with them. I won't get what I'm looking for, but I'll deal with them. All recipes ask for large eggs. If it's not written there, it's an understood statement that it's always large eggs. We're making cornbread and chuck eye steaks. So you never use medium. Like if you read Amelia Simmons' First American Cookbook, she'll say use 12 eggs. Remember, at that time, the chickens were smaller. They had smaller eggs, so it would take, for one of our eggs would be 3 of their eggs. So just change the ratio. So if they say we need 12 eggs, you really need, just divide it by 3. You only need 4 eggs. All right? I've never made an egg roll. All right. We're going to add a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. Now, when I make cornbread, I want it to be cornbread. So I'm going to sit there and I always use corn oil when I'm making it. Unless I have no corn oil in the house, you can bet it's just going to be corn oil. And that's a 1/2 cup. Now, I don't have any discard, so I'm just going to have to add 1 1/4 cups of milk. All right, just as simple as that. Oh, good God. I should try making this one time with buttermilk. See how it comes out. Yeah, there I go. You're going to beat these liquids together. My mother used to use Crisco oil. Didn't get the real corn flavor. It was my grandmother who said that. So you notice you'll have more of a corn flavor, which is interesting how it works. A lot of people don't think about it. So my cornbread is going to have more of a slight brown look to it. And that's because I use whole wheat instead of white flour, all-purpose. So just understand, you know, that mine's going to have a brown look to it. But they say it, you can use either one if you want to. So I always use the whole wheat because I told you this channel is about nutrition. And then I heard another. Now this video really floored me that he said this. Because I've been around older people. And he said old people have a special oil that come out on it. Listen to this garbage. And he said they have a very unique smell, and that's the smell of old age. He doesn't, man, I want to tell him to get his head together. What happens is, I'll put this on. I'll tell you how long we have to cook it. Okay. We have to cook it for 25 minutes. Check it with a toothpick in the center. To make sure it's done. All right, 25. All right, that's about 11 after the hour. Okay. He states point blank that old people have a unique smell. It's like an oil that comes out on their skin, and the soap and stuff doesn't wash it off, and everything else. And the only thing I'm thinking is, oh, that's great. Old women now wear a ton of makeup. They dye their hair trying to cover up their old age, and now they're probably going to wear a ton of perfume to hide how they smell. So I'm saying, so what bothered me about this was, you're going to tell me Moses and his wife, after they hit 60, now they're supposed to live, they lived like 800-900 years. For the rest of their lives, they're bald and they stink. And I said, get your head together, mister. Number one, when the body starts to lose muscle tone, it starts breaking down before the soul leaves, all right? So and you can see it when people get really old. You see how their skin goes and they pick up their hands and they call it creepy skin or something. This is because the body is starting to break down. But if you're active and you've got your muscle tone and you keep on moving and you eat right, you wouldn't have... I could not see Moses walking around like that, and everybody says he stinks for 800 years. I'm sorry, this mind of mine does not function like that. And I said, well, I'm sure Moses ate a heck of a lot better than we are eating today with all the chemicals and everything, and then everybody's constipated. That's why everybody doesn't like to talk about the bowel movements, because they get embarrassed because they know it can tell how they're eating and carrying on. So I'm saying, well, of course they're going to smell, and the body's going to be breaking down because it's poison from the inside, from the chemicals that they've been taking, which they've been putting in our food, and the medication, it's reacting in the body. So that would happen. Yeah, I can see why they would say certain people would have a smell. And the smell he's talking about is the sweet smell of death is what he's talking about. And that's usually right before somebody dies. People who work in the hospital and deal with death and dying will know this smell, and it's called the sweet smell of death. It's when the body is actually breaking down, the soul is getting ready to leave. No, I haven't, but knowing now that you brought it up to my attention, I've used discard. I'll probably try sour cream. I know buttermilk goes well. Yogurt should go excellent with it. Yeah. All right, thanks for the idea. Now I'm going to put it to practice. I don't know everything, but if you give me an idea, we'll try to make it work. Probably the sugar, you'd have a sweet sour, like a yogurt. Yeah, I could see that. We're going to be 11 after the hour. And I'm going to have to get a frying pan out. Now, what am I going to use for vegetables with this? I think I'm going to boil some plantains. Or a plantain, because there's only 3 of us today. And I already have salad dressing made. So I'm just going to throw a salad together with this. And this will be our dinner today. Thank you. I will. Is the X in your name J-A-X? Jazian? I think I said that right. I might have said it wrong. You have a lovely day too. Hey, it came across. I only talk about what's on my mind. Okay. Let's get the steaks going. I know, but I bring this information to you guys, you know? Listen, when you live with somebody in the medical profession, you want to hear some of the conversations that you hear in the morning. No, J&J, no, I haven't. Because they said it has to be somebody I know very well, and I don't know anybody. All my friends I see in person, okay? So I don't know people on the internet to do it. That's the whole thing. We're having cornbread. I'm making chuck steaks, and I already made the dressing, so I'll be making a salad. I need a frying pan now. Okay, where did I put those steaks? Oh. Aren't these lovely steaks? Look at that. They look so good. I already answered that question. Yes, but the thing is I don't know anybody personally on the internet, and that's the problem. They say don't do it unless you know this person well, and I said, well, that's really great. I don't know anybody on the internet. Yeah, I know, those are nice steaks, aren't they? Now, we're just searing these today for people who are new to cooking. Old-timers already know this. When you sear a steak, that means you're putting it into a hot pan. You're not adding anything to it. Of course it will. No, they're not vegan. I'm not a vegetarian. Though I do have a few dishes that are vegetarian. They just taste good, you know. But other ones, no. See, we didn't call this marbling. We used to call this the fat. We called it marbling. We didn't call it lean. Just pick someone here you see often. Be supportive. Yes, we are eating good today. Okay. I know I talk constantly about using my salt mixture, but when it comes to my steaks, iodized salt. I'm sorry, I'm not using that salt on it. Okay. Now I have to make some black peppers. Oh, tasty. If your father's a butcher, then you get excellent cuts. You can ask him for anything and get beautiful cuts. I don't like to mess up on my steaks. I'm going to sit there and put salt and pepper on them, and that's it. Another thing they say about gray hair, that it breaks, that you shouldn't put rubber bands, you shouldn't put clips, you shouldn't put this in it, you shouldn't put that. In other words, don't put anything in your hair. They say gray hair, but I wonder why the gray hair is so weak today. And Moses' wives had beautiful long hair for many hundreds of years. I have questions, I really do. Hi, Chocolate. Randy. Okay, Tasty, that's how you do it. That's how I like it. I'm sorry. Once you've been to the Red Barn, believe you me, and I went there. It's not the Red Barn that I remember. In Texas, it was literally a red barn, and they brought you in, and they had a whole section where you saw the grill where they were grilling steaks. Steaks were like that. My God, when they came to the table, when you had this big baked potato and stuff, and they cooked it right in front of it. No, they all seem to have a long life at that time, from what I have read. So my thing is that, were they all bald? You know? Coat the steak with flour and salt and pepper before searing. I don't know why. Everybody does it slightly different. But the one thing I can say, when you season with salt, go high, because if you go low, you'll notice you have spots where extra salt is that you don't want. So always be careful of that. All right, we're going to get this pan going. Now, when you sear, you put nothing in the pan. No butter, no nothing. Oh. If I'm doing a cube steak, I will use flour, but not on these. No. Listen, I like my steaks one way. I'm partial to it. I'm almost addictive to it. They're so good. So everybody has a different way. Just remember that. But when you sear, you have nothing in your pan, and you're going to have to get this pan hot. And the object of searing is that when you lay that meat in there, it's going to seal it so the juices can't come out from that end. And it's going to try coming up the other end, but it won't have time. By then, you'll flip it over and it'll be hot again. So you lock all those juices in. That I never heard of, flouring, but I have done meatballs. There are some recipes that do require that you flour meatballs. Okay. Yeah, I'm putting the pepper on right now. I can't wait to have this. I might eat early. Our sons, when they were little, they watched Ninja Turtles, and they wanted little baby turtles for us to have. But my little brother, he used to pick turtles up, and we had a yard full of turtles all the time. Okay, just throw the salt in there. Flip them over, do the other side. That's all I'm doing is adding salt and pepper. As you can see, that's what I'm doing. I got salt and pepper here, so I'll just put it all together here. We'll let that pan get nice and hot. Ta-da, da-dun, dun, 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 dun. Do-do-do-do. You know, if you're going to cook, at least have fun in the kitchen while you're doing it. So think about that. Think of songs that you like. If you like dancing, you can dance around the kitchen and do it too. My husband used to come up behind me and give me a hug. I said, "Do you want me to burn dinner?" Because I would go up 10 feet up in the air. You know, because I wouldn't expect it. Now, because we have the flu season around, I'm going to tell you right now, people will sit there and tell you you can have whiskey and drinks will sit there and kill your cold. Your cold will only go away and you will not get sick if you have an alkaline body. And the only way it can alkaline is to take a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar and hot water once or twice a day, and you will notice in time that will happen, that you'll be around sick people and you won't be able to get sick because you'll be alkaline. You ask how long? Well, while this season is going, I'm going to be on it every day because I don't want to get sick again. Yeah, that's how I look at it. I know what you're talking about. They were expensive. This was $20. This is just for 4 steaks right here, $20. And because I didn't spend a lot of money last week, I said I can afford these this week. And I'm going to go out on a real limb to have filet mignon on my birthday. Yeah, I'm saving up for that. Yeah, apple cider vinegar tasty is the only one that will alkaline your body. When I make salad dressings in the winter, I will use apple cider vinegar just about each and every time, unless I'm specifically told not to, and I have it every morning. And another thing for women who want to lose weight, taking that in the morning, the apple cider with the water before you have anything, you're not hungry for hours. So you can actually move around before the hunger hits you. Then when it hits you about 3-4 hours later, you can eat. So it works. All right, so I'm going to have to move you over here. Okay, you got 10 more minutes. I need a mat for the cornbread. Where can I put my cornbread? Yes. Hold on a minute. I've got to move some stuff again. Okay, I got the mat for that. All right. Acid reflux? Oh, you got poor digestion. Okay, let's see. I gotta get a few things out of the way. All right. Now this is very hot. All right, this pan. Listen to the sears. This is what you want. I'm gonna have to get 4 steaks in here. That's searing. You hear that sound? That's what you want. You're going to need some butter and some rosemary. Yes, they are. Yes, these are all clad in Cuisinart pans. Now you decide how long you want to cook them. Do you want them medium rare, medium done, medium this? You do it according to your taste. So remember, you cook it according to your taste when it comes to steak. Cast iron's the best, man. I've cooked in pots that were over 150 years and they were still good. You see how that steak comes out? Well, that piece came out. Now you're going to throw some butter into this pan. And this is not a low heat. We're using really high heat. I'm using the seasoning rosemary. You can use whichever seasonings you want. Knock yourself out. And you're going to start throwing it over with the butter. That's going to give them a nice flavor. I usually have 2 steaks in here at a time, but I'm using more. I use seasoning. Yeah, that's what you're doing. You're actually going to be throwing this over them so this butter melts. That'll give it its flavor. And you're still at a very, very high heat. You're not cutting the heat down at all. So whatever seasoning you wish to use, you add it with the butter. And then you have this lovely flavored butter you can pour over it as you serve it. So, come on. About 2 minutes, okay. Check that cornbread in a minute. This is still at a very high heat. You never turn the heat down. I mean, this is fast cooking, but you just cook it to the point that you want it done. And that's how you know. So you can imagine just how good these are going to be. You don't have to use rosemary. You can use something, whatever you want. Tasty, that's very nice. Chicken. This is beef. Okay? Now I have to let this finish cooking. When I go to serve it, I'll take the butter and just pour over it. Thank you, Tech. Okay. Some of this I don't know. More? I do not know what you said. It's in your language, it's not in mine. Okay, cornbread time. And here's the cornbread right here. This is what it looks like using whole wheat. They say do not cut it, give it 15 minutes. Okay, these are done the way we like them in my home. That was the cornbread. I made cornbread today. Okay, so I'm going to get a dish and put this out. This is how we like ours. Now, I know some Texans that like to sit there and like to put onions on theirs when they do it and take that butter and get the onion flavor, so you could do it that way as well. Maybe I'll try that. It's been a long time. Well, I guess I could do this, yeah. So, there's just many different ways of having this. Little tiny piece broke off. As you can see what I'm doing here. Very simple dinner to have. Thank you for that. Simple steaks, chuck steaks for today. If you cook them too long, they do become tough like everything else. I grew up in Texas where a lot of the meat was cooked medium rare, so that's how I'm, yes, Sindel, that's what we're having, steaks. So this is how I'm accustomed to having them. And the salad dressing is already made, so I don't have to show you how to make a salad dressing. And you know I do everything but the kitchen sink in my salads. So that's what we're going to be having. That's pretty much it for today. Medium rare, yes, that's how we like ours. Some people don't, they like theirs more done. My younger son was one that liked it well done, and he had to learn. He said, this is difficult to learn. I said, I know it is, but this is how steaks are usually served in Texas. And thank you. Thank you, Randy. So that's it. I want all of you to have a great day today, okay? I know. The sun's not even coming up yet. Okay? But anyway, I want you to take care. I like blue to medium rare, anywhere in that range. Sure. So take care. Bye-bye.